Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, if I ever actually start a YouTube channel, you guys will be the first people to have heard that come out of my mouth. Feels really weird to say that. Cool, so it is a full moon tonight. We have a beautiful big full moon in Aquarius this evening. So I am going to blend our reading and the full moon ritual into one tonight because I feel like I can go through this part a little bit faster, seeing as I've already set the stage for the new moon we covered quite a lot there, so I'm going to try and make this a little bit shorter. So if the new moon was yin, which is the feminine aspect, when we are looking at the full moon, we can talk about it in terms of yang, which is the male and masculine energies. So when we're looking at the full moon, it is at its peak because it is reflecting the highest volume of light that it can from the sun. So that is why it is characterized with more clarity, fulfillment, your culmination of cycles, and it is your a little bit more energy. So that more light and spark that we get from the full moon is what that energy is all about. That we get from the sun is what that's about. So what we use the full moon for, instead of intention, whereas the full new moon is for intention setting, the full moon is more about you've set your intention, the seed has grown over the last 2 weeks, and now we are coming to a point where you are actually starting to see the growth, the manifestation of the seed. So it's not to say that necessarily your full manifestation will appear in this time, but it is when you first maybe start to see, yes, of course you can have a full manifestation now already, but personally, in my experience, I have noticed that it's more starting to see this, the little bit of the leaves starting to poke out from the ground, the very early stages of development, not necessarily always the culmination and the completion of your full manifestation, but just it coming out into the actual world. So what you can use this full moon time period for is a time to express gratitude for what has grown over those 2 week periods, or anything else really. So just gratitude in general for everything that you've manifested in your life so far. Expressing gratitude. It's also just a great time for releasing and for forgiveness. So it's a perfect time because we are reaching that point in the phase of the moon where it is now going to start disseminating. Which means it's going to start going back towards the dark. It's like a shedding. So think about trees in autumn when they start to lose their leaves. This is kind of where we are at now, at that crux. So this is a great time to think about what you want to release through the cycle, things that you want to let go of, any projects that you want to finish off. If you have relationships that you are, you feel like you maybe need to get out of them, but you don't know how, now's a really great time to actually start making, tracks to kind of move out of those relationships. It's also a great time to cleanse and declutter. So it's just about, just putting off all the old dead leaves from that tree, and just making even more space for the new seedling that's coming up and just giving it room to grow. So that's a part of it. And then what you can also use this time period is for recharging. So whether recharging yourself, so bathing in full moon light and bathing in that energy. You can also cleanse your crystals. You can charge any items that you might have. So tarot decks, great for cleansing and recharging under the moonlight. You can make moon water, which is great for like plants and for drinking, for pretty much anything. You could set an intention on that. I'll go through that now in the ritual ideas. So that's pretty much what you can use the full moon for. So in line with that, the rituals that you form around that will be very similar to those. So we're talking about gratitude lists. You can make a forgiveness list. What I love to do is specifically make a forgiveness and a release list. So those are things that I want to let go of in my life. And then best part about it is you get to have a burn ceremony. So if you have a fireplace or you have a braai, anything where it's kind of safe to make a fire, I don't necessarily recommend you just like setting a piece of paper on fire in the middle of your lounge. If you're going to do that, do it in like a bowl or something that's it's a safe container. We don't want you burning your house down. But it's just a great way of clearing that stuff out. So write it all down on a piece of paper and then set it on fire. It's really cathartic, I promise you. You can also always, again, as with the new moon, you can take a bath or a shower. Water's super cleansing. You can also do like some dance. I want to say like non-interpretive dancing, but if you really want to, that you can. But just like dancing, like just shaking everything out, like shaking out past tensions that have kind of built up, maybe too much energy. If you've built up like a lot of like just like let it out, like scream, shout. Like if you have to scream into your pillow, that's fine. Just get it out, because there tends to be a lot of buildup of energy around this time, and it comes to the peak right now. So whatever energy you've been experiencing now is kind of the fulfillment of that. It's like the peak point of that energy. So if it's been like good vibes, you'll feel maybe really amazing. But if you've been having a bit of a hard time, you might not be feeling that great right now. So get it out however you can. You can also smudge and sage and do salt cleansers to assist with that cleansing and just helping to get rid of some of the stagnant or negative energies building. Just clearing out, just get it all out. So in line with that, we are in a Aquarius full moon, as I mentioned earlier. And, Aquarius is all about standing out, not giving a shit what anybody thinks about you, just flying your freak flag and just being like, this is me, this is my unique self, I'm not going to wear any masks, and I don't care whether or not you like it, I'm going to do it anyway. So Aquarius people are very much forward thinkers. They are very insightful. They like communicate really well. They entertain different ideas. They're not necessarily like, a lot of people call them aliens because they just like act like they're not from Earth. They are on another plane of existence. Like they're operating on another level. So this Aquarius full moon talks about that. How can you embody those characteristics? How can you be more authentically yourself? How can you express yourself in the world and not give a shit what anybody thinks about that? So that's the one part of it. And then we also have Venus is also doing some stuff right now, and that will also represent itself in our relationships. So if you are feeling like you're having some tensions in your relationships right now, whether that be friendships, romantic, work relationships, anything, but especially romantic relationships, because Venus does rule love, just write it out. Like, it's gonna be okay. There is just a lot of tension right now. So if you can just lay low for a little while and try to just avoid conflict as far as possible, do it. Take the time you need for yourself right now. We've been through a lot, all of us. The last couple of weeks, months, just years have not been easy, and we're all feeling the most right now. So that actually leads into my tarot reading that I did for us really well. So the first card that I pulled for us is the Eight of Pentacles. And as you can see, it's this dude. He is just working on his craft. He doesn't care about anybody else. He's focused on his own stuff. So if you can see here in the background, there's like you can't really see, but there is a little town. He's completely removed himself from everyone and everything. He is just focused on his own shit right now. He's like honing his craft. He's made like 7 pentacles already, and he's making an 8th one, because why not? I want to really get good at what I'm doing, and I don't care what anybody else thinks about what I'm doing, anybody else says about my process. If people think I'm crazy because I've made 7 pentacles, what the fuck are you doing with all those pentacles? I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway, because this is me. This is what I want to do with my life and with myself, and I'm not going to let anyone deter me from that. So that's kind of that Aquarius energy that we have coming through here. And just embody that, in your own lives. Where is it that you feel that maybe there's something that you really love to do, but you feel like you can't do it because there are other people in the background who are trying to tell you, like, why are you doing that? Like, that makes no sense. But it's something you love. Do it anyway. Like, fuck them. Then our next card is the Six of Swords. And I'm actually really happy to see this card because... so I'm like filming in reverse and I can't do the whole... It's really messing with my head. But we've got the Six of Swords over here. And as you can see, there is a mother and a child in a boat being carried across a river. And they have like all these swords with them in the boat. So this card talks about moving on from a past that was maybe a little bit heavy, moving on from heavier energy. So swords are about intellect. So if you've had a lot of shit on your mind, this is basically telling you, don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. You are going to cross the river eventually. But again, I want to say the way that I'm looking at this right now for everything, like those swords look pretty dangerous for a boat, like especially since they're standing upright in a boat. I mean, I don't know if I was in a boat if I would want 6 swords jutting into the base of the boat. I would be like, those are going to make holes. Please don't. So for me, it's kind of like saying, you know what, we don't need to carry these with us. These represent our fears, our anxieties, our concerns that we've had over the last couple of months. And I mean, we're all going through the most right now. That if we're going to take that with us across the river, it's going to slow us down. And also it's going to potentially make a hole in our boat. So maybe we should leave them behind. So if you can right now, I think feel free to, with this full moon, do a release ceremony of all the things that are holding you back on your boat. Then we have the Two of Pentacles finally. Again, I've got to do the reverse thing because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So we've got the Two of Pentacles over here, and it is in the reverse position. So usually in the upright position, if you have a look there, this guy is juggling 2 coins and it has an infinity sign. He's got a really, really large hat. I don't know if that's because he has a big head or if it's just like because he's a jester or something. I don't know. I always find it really weird. Anyway, but if you look at the background, if you look at the ocean and you see those little boats on there, like, man, they are having a rough time. And that sea is wild, yo. Like, it really looks quite hectic. I don't know if I would want to. I would be sick. I'd just throw up everywhere if I was on that boat. But it's in the reverse position here. And I kind of feel like in the reverse position, this is even more chaotic. Like, can you see like how just flipping it around makes that card look even more just like of a mess? I mean, those boats look like they're going to literally fall out of the ocean. So this is talking about, again, in the upright position, it talks about juggling a lot of things, trying to keep a good balance between everything. But because it's in the reverse position, it's kind of saying like, maybe we don't have a good handle on everything right now. Maybe things aren't feeling balanced and easy to deal with right now. Like kind of like the boats on that ocean in the background, just being like, we are just being tossed around by the waves right now. But the guy in front, he seems to actually be doing okay. Maybe it's this big ass hat that's keeping him balanced. I don't know. Maybe it's weighing him down. Maybe we just need to try to find the balance in between the chaos. So that's actually something that I've been dealing with recently. It's about finding balance between taking care of yourself, resting, getting enough, me time, and also taking care of your stuff and taking care of your responsibility. And sometimes we get a bit overwhelmed because we are too focused on taking responsibility for everything, and we are not taking enough time for ourselves. And especially, like I said, everyone's been going through a lot right now. And maybe we are at home and we're all working from home and working less, or we have different, situations going on. But that doesn't mean that the stress that we're going through right now isn't really heavy, and we still actually need to give ourselves more love, more attention, more kindness, more compassion than normal. So don't forget about that. So that is the reading for today, and that is the general overview of this full moon. So next time will be even shorter because I'm not going to do any introductions for the moon cycles. It will just be the reading, and then I can spend a bit more time doing the reading for you guys. Hope you find this helpful. Love you guys lots. Bye.